feedback, then we'll submit it to the contractors for final approval. And then hopefully we can start from there, go from there.
One other thing I think the mayor forgot, we didn't get a bid for the street project that was already due. We went out and rebid the street work, for that. Just so the council is aware, I think after this year, assuming the construction, which it should go, this year, over the past about 3 years, the council, you guys have authorized about $1 million in street improvements, over the past 3 years. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware. That project is coming, so we put it out for bid and we anticipate to get something hopefully in the next few weeks.
Okay, all right, questions? Thank you, Hector. Chief?
Sorry for that.
No problem.
I always break at the worst times.
You're fine.
But I do have the month of January 2024. Also have a yearly report for 2023. I'm going to start with the yearly report and then jump into January. So for the year of 2023, January through December, we had a total of 905 offenses. 721 of those were calls were offense calls. The 905 is the amount of offenses in those 721 calls, which averaged out to a little over 75 offenses per month. We arrested 310 people in 2023. Average is close to 26 per month. We had 2,128 incident reports, averaging 177, a little over 177 per month. 1,118 citations, averaging 93, a little over 93 per month. 1,948 warnings, averaging 162, a little over 162 a month. And 806 security checks, which averaged a little over 67 per month. Total calls, which goes from everything from a dog barking to aggravated assault and everything else, was 5,438 for the year of 2023, which averaged to just a little over 453 per month, 453 calls. So you're looking at about, I'm not gonna say that I'm good at math, but I believe it's somewhere around 12 calls a day.
About 15.
15? Okay. I told you. But okay. So, with that being said, I mean, it's gonna be busy. In my opinion, I mean, I think the town is a lot safer than when I first started back in 2011. And not so much, not to say the town was worse back then, but just we don't have the kind of crime that we had back then. It's not happening now. Now we have a different type of crime. It's mainly property crimes, narcotics, drugs. There's a drug issue. There's a theft issue, a burglary issue. That's what we're dealing with for the most part in Pearsall. Before I get into the January report, just briefly, I want to let y'all know that we are trying a sponsorship program with the police department and the city, and it's working out fantastic. We've had 5 people interested in becoming police officers, locals. So, with that being said, when was it, Joe? On Monday? Did we test it?
Yes, sir.
On Monday? So yesterday we had 4 of them tested at the police department. They took a written examination, they did a PT, a physical test, and needless to say, I mean, it looks good. It looks bright, and on top of that, where we were 1 year ago, before the new budget, we're only down one position. I'm sorry, two positions right now from then. I had a citizen actually approach me yesterday and asked me if we had a retention problem with the PD. We don't have a retention problem. Right now, we can't hire them fast enough. The ones that wanna work with us don't have a license. So it's gonna take a little bit of time, but we're gonna fill that department. It's looking bright. So January 2024, we had 68 offenses. 57 of those were the calls in itself. So out of those 68, I'm sorry, in 57 calls, we had 68 offenses. We arrested 28. We had 111 incident reports, 128 citations, 167 warnings, 81 security checks, and 502 calls for service. So, we're definitely I guess the town would have the best opinion, because if you ask me, I think my department's doing great. It looks good, the future looks bright. We don't have any problems that can't be fixed in our department. The little that there is, it's very minor, and it's basically just polishing it.
Okay, council, do you have any questions for our chief?
Do we have any new officers?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, ma'am.
The only thing I wanted to tell you, Chief, is thank you for what you guys are doing. It's a huge difference in on the vigilant that you guys are out there day and night and what y'all do, the work, and I can see it. I can see it as I'm out in town, riding around, and the work that you guys are doing, and it is being noticed in the public. The community is talking about it, which is huge. And again, it's music to our ear to know that now we're down two positions opposed to where we were a while back, and it's great. It's good. So I just wanted to give you and your team great for the job well done you guys are doing. So thank you for protecting our citizens.
Councilman Mayo?
Do you have any new hires?
Yes, we do. Well, the ones that were here, for this last swearing in, Davalos and Regino, we are hiring a guy that is coming straight out of the academy, here at the end of the month. We're actually gonna go to his graduation, and we're trying to have him actually hired on when he graduates, so he can graduate with a Pearsall.
Got it.
And then we have people that are interested, we haven't got them in yet. So
Awesome.
it's moving, it's just, takes a little bit of time. It's going good. And just to clarify, sir, we're not down two positions right now, we're just down two from what we were at last year. Because last year, I believe, at this time, we were down a couple, we were down a few. But, it's much better than what I think it was at that time.
All right, council. Anything else, council, for the chief? All right, thank you very much, chief. Thank you. God bless you guys.
Thank you.
All right, finance report, 5C, city managers, provide that information.
Mayor and council, in your packet, what you'll find is, beginning on page 16, is, if you look at your fourth column, you'll see total expenditures for every department of the city, and where we are. If you look at the very last column, you can see the percentage. Overall, total expenditures for the general fund is $1.29 million. On the revenue side, and part of what I just give you a real brief breakdown, you'll see the revenue by the same thing. Where we are revenues, we're at $1.3 million on the general fund, for a total of $162,000 in black. So it's saying that we're doing okay. Part of our far as collections, right now we focus a lot as far as collections on property taxes. Our sales tax, council last fiscal year did well. So we're looking okay so far, and we're about a quarter through the fiscal year, so we're looking okay on the utility side. Go over that briefly as well. If you look at the revenues on the utilities, showing $1.3 million on utilities year to date. Again, consistent to where we are, the quarter way through the year. All in all, again, we're looking okay. I do anticipate having a little more detail for you on the next meeting as far as, revenues. But at the end of the day, we're looking pretty good. I should have, to add to that, we should have an audit, we'll have our audit to a draft to y'all by the end of this month, and we hope to approve the audit, the March, the beginning of March, so that'll be by the required time frame. We're required by the city charter to have the audit approved by March 31st, so we will meet that deadline. So again, financially, we are in a better place, I would say. So just wanted to make sure, any questions on anything?
Council, just wanna let y'all know that, to have the audit almost done at this early date is a really good feat, so congratulations to the finance department and, Fred, your hard work for that. We look forward to that next, council meeting. All right, council, going to item, 5D, Mr. Hunt, community development report.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm just gonna go real brief through here and cover just some major, points that I'd like to, point out. Basically, in our, building permits in November, we had, revenue about 1,100, December about 1,600, and, this month we're at $3,600. So we're seeing an increase, and part of that is attributed to our enforcement, especially those who do not acquire the permit. And so we're sending out notice violation letters, and we're getting a positive response, and they're coming in to pay. So we're staying on top of that. We just recently renewed our contract with iWorks, which is the software that we enter all our data, so we'll be tracking the types of permits that we issue, the revenues, and it offers a lot of other services that will help make our jobs more efficient. I did provide y'all with some flyers that we currently, with the recent hailstorm, we're getting a lot of calls from homeowners regarding whether or not they require a permit. And then also, there's contractors that have been coming in and knocking on doors, so we decided to do an FAQ regarding don't be scammed, letting them know what their rights are, that we do require permits, and that the contractor must be registered. So, and then also you got a flyer in January, we held a contractors meeting that was well attended, and there was a lot of Q&A that was, they met our new regional manager and our manager for BDNA. So our next thing is preparing for a spring cleanup and addressing a blitz of some substandard housing. What else? At some point, I'd like to introduce perhaps you all considering some, either amending our current ordinances regarding fences. We've had some issues with property owners not knowing or not because they don't want to comply with our building permits. We do require permits for those. We also have code enforcement out enforcing those who do not come and pull the permits. You will see the charts, the graphs on the number of cases on code enforcement has gone up and continues to go up as well. We would like to see, we've had some concerns regarding mobile food vendors, if that's something you all would like to to look at and address. We have no ordinances for mobile food vendors. We also don't have any ordinances for cellular towers or solar panels. Solar panels is one of our biggest permitting companies that come in. So these are just some of the things that I'd like at some point for you all to start considering if you'd like to see us introduce some ordinances to regulate those things. I don't have anything else. It's in our reports. If you have any questions for me, I'm open to address them.
And we've got a very aggressive code enforcement officer that's doing the job that needed to be done for quite a while. I know it's kind of stirring the pot a little bit. We're all probably hearing about that because there's been just basically a lack for a long time. A lack of just really paying a lot of attention to details. So this is a work in process, and I know as we go through, there's some things we can probably certainly tweak to make better, but it's a step in the right direction. I appreciate the job you're doing, although I know it comes with a little bit of heat, but anyway. Council, do you have any questions for?
I'd like to point out that, our objective as far as code enforcement and building is to educate the public, the homeowners. We make it a point to sit down with them and walk them through everything that's gonna be required, taking a look at some of the things that they may or may not be able to do, because our objective is don't spend the money if you're gonna end up not being able to do what you have in mind, and that's really our objective, although, we'll hear the negatives out there, but we try to work with the homeowners or the property owner in educating them what our ordinances are. Our ordinances may not be, what they would like for them to see, but we are trying to work on making those corrections. Additionally, I forgot to mention, we have about 4 or 5 potential developers coming in for retail establishments. Pizza Hut has already, issued the permit for the demolition. We just sent them their invoice. As soon as they pay it, that permit will be issued and they'll be ready to go. We are waiting for an asbestos survey from them. We've issued an application to start their building permits. So we've got that going, and then we've got some other developers who are already looking at potential development. And Mr. Reyes will cover some of that with y'all.
Ms. Moran, I know that we discussed, bringing all these resources to our website, right, and bringing that up, so, can you give us an update on where we're at on that? And it's going to be a huge tool for our community, so they can go on there, and I know we discussed it at the, contract, meeting, on it, so where we at, as far
Yes,
as?
sir. We're working very closely with Ms. Bianca to change the actual look of our website. We have already, with this new contract with iWork, we also inquired as to a payment online or being able to use your credit card swiper. So we're working towards that and having that available. And then I am updating our permits to be more user-friendly, and it's not so cumbersome, and the permittee understands and specific to the job description. So if you're an electrician, it'll be specific to permit to an electrician versus just residential overall. It'll be, if you need a fence permit, it'll be specific for that. So those, we're working closely to get those online so that they can, one, pay online, two, submit their applications online. I know Ms. Bianca is looking at several vendors so that will support what we're looking to do.
Do we have a time frame on something like that?
I'll say a little bit. There's 2 things that have to happen. One is, we have our current contract with our current internet provider, or not with internet provider, excuse me, website provider. That contract is, I think the contract is up in December.
Correct.
So what we're doing in transition right now, we're gonna look at several vendors and do demos and see who offers a better web. I'll be quite frank, I used to think that Civic Plus was the gold standard, and they have not performed as well as they have, in my opinion, in years past. So we're looking at doing a web design.
With that, what we want to incorporate is, again, the online payments. You have some online payment features now, with municipal court, and I believe utility billing, but we want to incorporate the permitting and a couple other, I would eventually like to, we want to see a scheduling calendar for schedules of some of the facilities we have. And then we also want to be able to have people pay on that as well. I think Ramiro can like, speak to some of the scheduling things he's dealing with, but that's what we're want to add to the, and we want to make it more user-friendly. What you have right